On a sunny day in South Korea, there's a man trying to buy groceries, but when he takes a chip snack, the bags snap open and the content inside is gushing out. There's a little girl looking at him, asking him whether he is stealing or something. But suddenly, a sudden earthquake occurred in the vicinity, but the scale is small so there are no casualties. Then a bigger earthquake happens. Looking outside, the man sees there's something erupting from the earth. A colossal tower emerges, devastating all in its wake. A man shields a child, escaping the chaos. When the quake subsides, the tower stands globally. Dubbed the Tower of Nightmares, it materializes worldwide. A notification selects certain individuals as tower walkers to save humanity. They gain an interface system, treating the challenge like a game. Yet, the gravity of their mission unfolds. The tower impact unleashes monsters on Earth. Modern armies prove futile against this calamity. The monster onslaught wipes out a third of the world's population, leaving those in the tower helpless. The fate of humanity rests on individuals with unique powers. Determined to halt the annihilation, the walkers storm the tower. Encountering a dead end, they discover a return stone. Jaehwan, their captain, uses it, vanishing with a promise to share his experience. The room fills with light, and Jaehwan's disappearance sparks uncertainty. Sakamoto, a former science professor, believes Jaehwan has truly traveled to the past. However, the split timeline may prevent their reunion, explained through theories like the multiverse and parallel universes. The universe's timeline fractures when Jaehwan goes back to the past, creating distinct worlds for him and the remaining walkers. Confusion reigns among the group, but one certainty emerges: Jaehwan has revisited the past. Yet, Sakamoto cautions that this doesn't alter the current world. The tower system, never deceptive, ensures a return to a different split timeline. Sakamoto emphasizes the tower's items defy common human understanding, pushing the boundaries of conventional logic. Not long after, the second tower impact occurred in the world outside of the tower. Before all of humanity on Earth is annihilated, the walkers must make a decision, whether they use the return stone and return to the past or remaining in the tower and die. In the end, one who doesn't have enough strength to climb uses the stone to return, leaving behind the one that wants to fight in their current world. As one going to get devoured by the monster, there's someone with a double dagger comes into the fight. The slashes are so strong it basically obliterates the monster. Finishes dealing with the monster. He asks the walker whether he is alright. Behind him then come a group of people who stays in the tower to hold on until the very end. They were the humanity last hope, the people who weren't tempted by the return stone, the carpe diem. On the battle in the upper floor, confronting a masked monster boss, Yunwen diverting the boss aggro, calling out to Yiwen to land his attacks. With the combo of the two, they decapitated the masked boss easily. Dealing with the aftermath, fortunately, there are no casualties and only light injuries on the squad. Going at a fast pace, they think that they might be able to reach the final floor. Upon checking the drop of the boss, Yiwen gets a weapon called a suppressing dragon sword. Although it all seems to be going in humanity's favor, going up against the 98th floor, Chamber of Purgatory. All of the squad is slain, leaving only the duo. They fight tooth and nail to beat the boss, as Yunwen screams that he can't beat it on his own, asking Yiwen to get his head together and start beating the boss. But it doesn't go the way they want. Sadly, Yunwen gets stabbed by the boss's horn, leaving him incapable of fighting back anymore. The boss then runs towards a castle wall to stamp Yunwen between the wall and its head. With the last strength he has, Yiwen tries to fight the boss in retaliation for it killing his only friend remaining. He grabs his sword then starts dashing towards the boss. It notices the attack though, but there is something different with Yiwen. With all of his remaining strength, Yiwen trusts his sword like no tomorrow then defeats the boss. Sadly, Yunwen is left with a severe wound and has no way of recovering. With the return stone in hand, he apologizes, making Yiwen remember that Kim Yunwen, in that cruel and dreary tower, he never lost his smile. Because of it, the walkers call him Smile Knight. And now that Smile Knight lost his smile for the first time, Yiwen then turns away from him, telling him to just go before he changes his mind. With that, Yiwen becomes the only walker remaining in the higher floor of the tower, intending to finish the last floor by himself. As he tries to open the 99th floor, he reminisces about the past and his time spent with the squad. What welcomes him behind the floor is a snowfield, and inside, he immediately fights an ice dragon, which obviously he can't defeat yet. Hiding from the dragon, Yiwen's hand gets frozen. He explains that it's been 10 years since he reached the 99th floor. Even though he faced numerous crises on his way up until the 98th floor, the level of danger on the 99th floor was incomparable to any of the lower levels. The boss of the 99th floor, an ice dragon called Velchesis, has a breath that came from the Forgotten Land and is hard to withstand, even with the highest possible level of cold resistance. If not for the equipment abandoned by the walkers who left, he would have died a long time ago. This includes the suppressing dragon sword he got on the 85th floor, the ice demon armor that Yunwen gave him, and the Flame King's bracelet that Han Soil gave. Thinking about Han Soil, he wakes up in the smithy warming himself. Currently, he resides in the village that was reclaimed after defeating the 50th floor's boss, the monstrous dragon Ultimianus, called Atopos. Although there were dead or injured walkers that came in every day, people never gave up hope. The priests had established emergency rescue units to rescue raiders that were no longer able to fight. The blacksmiths of the workshops created equipment for the walkers who fought for the sake of humanity free of charge. Ewan speaks to Jay, implying that he might be the last blacksmith in Atopos. He thinks that there have been more than 10 tower impacts that have occurred so far, and from some point in time, people no longer got summoned to the first floor's summoning ground and climbed up the tower. Talking with Jay, Ewan guesses that the humans on Earth got wiped out. While thinking about it, there is something that's bothering Ewan. At the place where the return stone was first found, there are some strange scribbles reading tower within tower, nightmare within nightmare. As 2 days ago, Grandma Hylian disappeared, Jay's partner. One doesn't age within the tower. If someone disappeared in the tower, it's for one of two reasons. Either they returned to the past with the return stone or they jumped off the tower. Thinking about there being no supporting walkers anymore, Ewan asks Jay to teach him blacksmith skills. Later that day, Ewan faces the ice dragon again. Ultimianus says that no human has ever made it to the 99th floor alone ever since the creation of the Tower of Nightmares, making him acknowledges Ewan as an incredible human. Ewan mocks the dragon, saying that he would feel so empty after killing Ultimianus, adding that even the armor that Ultimianus is so proud of is starting to have cracks, as Ewan jumps into the dragon's breath. But it doesn't take long for Ewan to be defeated, being stuck at the wall with frozen solid hand and leg. Ultimianus says that even after Ewan fighting to the end, even if he tries to persistently hold on, in the end, the fate that he will face is overbearing solitude and nothingness. Ewan remembers all of his fallen allies, saying that the dragon talks too much. He breaks free from the ice prison. With the sword in hand, he goes for another thrust towards the dragon. For Ewan, he started raiding the tower later than other people. Because of that, he missed things like hidden skills and classes every single time. That's why he cleanly gave up on other skills and focused on just one, the thrust. He thrusts and thrusts again. After he killed over 50 million monsters with his thrust, his comrades thought his pronoun was thrust. He felt his thrust was going through a change. Every time he thrust, it becomes faster, more precise, and stronger. As a result, his thrust surpassed a simple motion and started to gain attack power comparable to a hidden skill. And because it wasn't a skill, he never became tired because it didn't consume spirit power. That's when he scratches the dragon after more than hundreds of thrusts. As Ultimianus has enough of it, intending to finish Ewan off, he uses dragon breath point blank on him. Knowing that it's too late to dodge, Ewan is surprised to see a light into the dragon. It was the same light that he saw on the 98th floor. With that, he gives everything he's got, thrusting into the dragon. And this time, it works splendidly. Ewan completely blows away the dragon's chin. The enraged dragon flies up in the sky, barraging dragon breath towards the tiny human beneath him, and Ewan can only evade as he has no way to close the gap between them. As his body can't keep up with the freezing cold air in the area, Ewan fails to run away to recover. The ice dragon lands right in front of him, saying that if there were 10 more humans like Ewan, he would be defeated. If only the walkers weren't fooled by the mare's stone, Ewan's fate would have been completely different. Hearing about it, Ewan is surprised, then asks about the mare's stone. But Ultimianus refuses to answer and strikes Ewan instead. Fortunately, even he fails to get any answer from the ice dragon. Ewan manages to run away from the fight to recover his frozen body parts. Being back in front of the door of the 99th floor, Ewan thinks about the dragon mentioning the mare's stone. But for the moment, he decides to brush it off. 5 years later, Ewan finally slays Ultimianus, the ice dragon. With it also comes a lot of notifications to Ewan. Before Ultimianus' soul disappears, he asks again about the mare's stone, which the ice dragon indicates that Ewan already knows the answer to that question. Ultimianus adds that he will learn everything on the last floor while also receiving an ice dragon sword from Ultimianus' drop. Then the door to the 100th floor opens, and Ewan immediately enters the door. He comes inside a floor called a control room, where he can see the current state of the tower. Suddenly, there's a monster talking to him, saying that he is already here while the monster assumes that Ewan would go back to the village first. Ewan immediately prepares for battle, and what shows up is a notification saying that he is the first to have cleared all the tutorial games of World 294. His amazing achievement has been recorded in the Undying Library, the Akashic Records. That record will be preserved such that it can only be viewed by the monarchs of the Almighty Land. Ewan is surprised to learn that all of that is only a tutorial, remembering that everyone that ever entered the tower is dead now and God knows what happened to humanity outside the tower. A monster with a lion head wearing a full suit shows up, and the first thing Ewan asks is who the heck he is. He introduces himself as the demon Beastrain. He is the owner of the Tower of Nightmares that Ewan had just cleared. Ewan tries to confirm whether all of that is really just the tutorial. Beastrain then shows something to him. It shows the earlier days when Ewan starts being a walker. He shows how Ewan and his comrades spent all the time together and all the fights they have been through. Ewan silently watches as the demon reminds him of all that sadness, anger, and regrets, adding that it's natural for there to be useless emotions when faced with the past. The demon then offers him to start all over again, adding that it is an amazing benefit for Ewan, because that would be something that only happens in a novel on Earth, the absolute being who starts from the beginning with all their memories. Ewan realizes that all of the walkers had been fooled by the demon from the start. There's no way for humanity to stop the tower impacts, and the only thing humanity can do is to keep raiding the tower. The salvation of humanity was just a false hope. Then Ewan refuses to go back to the past, as his promise to be the Carpe Diem. The demon then laughs hysterically, saying that no item in the tower nor in the Almighty Land will be able to send anyone back to the past. Ewan then remembers that Altaminus ever mentioned the Mirror's Stone. He is devastated to learn that all of the walkers who ever walked beside him in the tower were tricked by the demon. It turns out that the return stone is a Mayor's Stone. The demon explains that the Mayor's Stone doesn't send back the user to the past. Instead, they are trapped in the dreams that the Mayor creates. And up until the higher floor, only Ewan had the obsession to finish the tower. In the end, he refuses to accept the offer for going back to the past and to start over, because thanks to the demon's explanation, Ewan now knows what the Tower of Nightmare is. He assumes that he is already in the dream that the Mayor's Stone made, so he decides to hunt Beastrain and go to the next floor.